In the rugged wilderness of Yellowstone National Park, where survival demands constant vigilance, Luna, a 5-year-old mountain lion mother, led her pride with unyielding strength. She had given birth to 8 cubs in the same litter just months earlier. Max, bold and quick; Bella, watchful and clever; Rocky, sturdy and determined; Daisy, playful and agile; Charlie, curious and adventurous; Riley, sharp and observant; Scout, brave and exploratory; and Harper, small but fierce, always ready to charge into challenges. Luna taught them the basics of the hunt, her powerful frame guiding them through the terrain as they practiced stalking shadows. But that summer day changed everything. A rival pride encroached, their eyes fixed on the scarce waterhole Luna's family claimed. Growls echoed as the intruders charged. "Stay back," Luna snarled, positioning herself between her cubs and the threat. She lunged first, claws slashing at the lead male's flank, her body twisting in midair with explosive force. The fight erupted, teeth clashing, bodies slamming into the dirt. Luna bit deep into an attacker's shoulder, but another rival pounced from the side, raking her side. She fought on, roaring, "Protect the little ones," as blood stained the ground. Her cubs huddled, Max whispering, "Mom, hold on." But the numbers overwhelmed her. Luna collapsed with a final defiant growl, her eyes dimming as the rivals retreated, victorious but wounded. The cubs circled her still form, nudging desperately. "Mother, get up," Bella cried, her voice breaking the silence. Alone now, they scattered into the underbrush, hearts pounding, facing a world that had turned cruel in an instant. What followed would test their limits in ways that stir the deepest sympathy. Before we uncover how these orphaned cubs found hope amid despair, share in the comments. What time is it where you're watching? And from which city? Let's see how far this story of resilience has spread. If it grips you, hit like, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more tales from the wild that remind us of nature's unbreakable spirit. Months earlier, in the fresh green of spring, Luna's pride moved through Yellowstone's valleys with quiet confidence. Her 5-year-old frame leading the way as she scanned for signs of prey while her 8 cubs trailed close behind. Luna, the steadfast mother, divided roles among them during hunts, teaching Max to take the lead in flanking maneuvers with his bold speed, showing Bella how to watch for weaknesses in the quarry's movements using her clever instincts, guiding Rocky and Daisy to block escape paths with their sturdy builds, and encouraging Charlie, Riley, Scout, and Harper to stay low and observe. Learning the timing of the strike from her precise actions, she would nudge them gently, saying, "Watch closely. Kids, timing is everything in this world," as they practiced on small rodents or shadows in the grass, her voice a mix of firmness and warmth that built their skills day by day. One clear morning, Luna spotted a herd of elk grazing near a stream, their heads down and unaware. So she signaled the cubs with a low purr, positioning Max and Bella on the left flank to cut off retreat while Rocky and Daisy moved to the right to create a barrier. Charlie and Riley creeping forward to distract, and Scout and Harper hanging back to learn without risk. "Stay sharp, my dears," Luna whispered, her eyes locked on the largest elk, a full-grown male with antlers branching wide, its muscles rippling under the fur as it fed. With a sudden burst, Luna charged ahead, her powerful legs propelling her at speeds that blurred the landscape. The cubs following in coordinated waves, Max darting to the side to force the elk into a turn, Bella leaping to nip at its heels and slow it down, Rocky and Daisy closing the gap to prevent escape, and the younger ones cheering softly from behind as the plan unfolded. The elk stumbled under the pressure, its hooves slipping on the damp earth, and Luna delivered the final pounce, her jaws clamping on the neck with crushing force, bringing it down in a cloud of dust and grunts. The family gathered around the fresh kill, Luna tearing open the hide first and offering the choicest pieces to her cubs, saying, "Eat well, little ones. Strength comes from sharing," as Max took a bite and passed to Bella, who shared with Rocky, the portions moving down the line until even Harper got her fill, their bellies full and spirits high. After the meal, the pride relaxed in a sunny clearing, Luna licking each cub clean with long, careful strokes of her tongue, starting with Max's ruffled fur from the chase, then Bella's ears still twitching with excitement, Rocky's broad back, Daisy's paws, Charlie's tail, Riley's whiskers, Scout's nose, and Harper's tiny frame, her purring a soothing rhythm that lulled them into rest. The cubs played nearby, Max protecting the smaller ones by standing guard during mock hunts, Bella comforting Scout when he tripped over a root by nuzzling him and saying, "You're okay, brother, keep trying." Charlie and Riley wrestling in the grass with light-hearted growls, Daisy joining in to pin them down gently, and Harper watching with wide eyes before jumping in to tag along, their laughter-like chirps filling the air as bonds grew stronger through every interaction. Luna watched over them, her presence a constant source of security, often calling, "Come here, my darlings," to gather them close for stories of past hunts or lessons on navigating the park's rivers and ridges, emphasizing how unity kept them alive in this vast land. Days blended into routines of exploration, with the family crossing meadows to find new berry patches or shady spots under pines, Luna always at the forefront, her instincts honing the cubs' abilities without pressure, turning potential dangers into teaching moments like avoiding a distant wolf pack by scent alone. In quieter times, she would gather them at dusk, her voice soft as she said, "Family is our greatest strength, kids," while they nestled against her warm side, the spring breeze carrying scents of blooming flowers and distant rain, emphasizing the enduring ties that held them together. Through these moments, the pride thrived, each cub developing unique traits under Luna's guidance, Max emerging as a natural leader, Bella as the strategist, Rocky and Daisy as the enforcers, Charlie, Riley, and Scout as the agile scouts, and Harper as the quick learner, all woven together in a tapestry of trust and affection that defined their world. When summer heat scorched the park and water grew scarce, a rival pride crossed into Luna's territory, their shadows long against the dry grass as they followed the dwindling stream toward the family's spring. The intruders moved with purpose, led by a scarred male whose ribs showed through his coat, driven by the same thirst that had forced them out of their own grounds. Luna sensed them first, her ears flicking at the distant rustle, and she rose from where she rested with the cubs, her body tensing as the rival scents reached her. "Form up behind me," she commanded in a low growl, positioning the 8 cubs in a tight cluster while she stepped forward alone. The lead male from the rival group locked eyes with her, a deep rumble building in his throat as he advanced, his companions fanning out to flank the water source. Luna held her ground, tail lashing, and issued a warning roar that echoed across the valley. But the rivals pressed on, desperation outweighing caution. The confrontation erupted in seconds. Luna charged straight at the leader, her powerful shoulders driving her forward as she slammed into him, claws raking his side while her jaws aimed for his throat. The male twisted away, countering with a swipe that caught her shoulder. But Luna recovered quickly, biting deep into his foreleg and forcing him to stagger back. The other rivals closed in, one leaping onto her back while another snapped at her flanks, turning the fight into a chaotic whirl of fur and dust. Luna fought with everything she had, shaking off attackers and landing blows that sent them reeling, her voice cutting through the noise as she shouted, "Back off! This is our water," to drive them away. Yet the numbers proved too great. A third rival struck from the side, sinking teeth into her hind leg and pulling her down, while the leader recovered and clamped onto her neck in a crushing hold. Luna thrashed, her claws digging into the earth as she tried to rise. But the weight pinned her, her strength ebbing with each labored breath. She managed one final roar, a raw call of defiance mixed with desperation, before her body went, still beneath the pile of rivals. The attackers released her, panting and bloodied, then turned away, claiming the spring as their own and leaving the scene behind. The cubs, who had watched from the edge of the brush, froze in horror as their mother lay motionless on the ground. Max stepped forward first, his legs trembling, whispering, "Mom." But there was no response. Bella nudged closer, her eyes wide, while Rocky and Daisy huddled together. Charlie, Riley, Scout, and Harper pressing against them in a tight ball. Panic set in as the reality hit their protector gone. The valley suddenly vast and empty. The cubs scattered in different directions at first, running blindly through the undergrowth, their cries piercing the hot air. "Mother, come back." "Where are you?" Max circled back to her side, nudging her shoulder with his nose, begging her to move. But the silence only deepened. Bella tried to gather the younger ones, her voice shaking as she said, "We have to stay together." Yet fear pulled them apart again. They darted into the shadows, hearts racing, the weight of loss crashing over them like a wave, leaving the once secure pride fractured and alone in the scorching summer light. As autumn leaves began to fall, the 8 orphaned cubs wandered weak and hungry until they crossed paths with Stella, a 4-year-old mountain lion who had been raising her single son Finn in a secluded ridge not far from the contested spring. Stella spotted the group first, their thin frames stumbling through the underbrush, eyes dull from days without proper food, and she paused mid-step, her instincts weighing the risk against the sight of so many small lives barely holding on. Finn, her 1-year-old cub, pressed close to her side, his ears flat as he watched the strangers with suspicion. Stella lowered her head, assessing them one by one, Max leading with cautious steps, Bella keeping the younger ones together, Rocky and Daisy flanking the sides. Charlie, Riley, Scout, and Harper trailing in a ragged line. She had never taken in outsiders, yet something in their desperate silence tugged at her, reminding her of her own early days alone before Finn arrived. After a long moment, she stepped forward and said quietly, "Come closer. All of you, I won't turn you away." The cubs hesitated, Max growling softly in warning, but hunger won out, and they edged nearer, collapsing near the small deer Stella had just caught. She tore off portions and pushed them toward the newcomers, saying, "Eat slowly. There's enough for everyone," while Finn watched with narrowed eyes, his tail flicking in irritation. As the cubs fed, Finn moved in close to Max, the largest of the orphans, and delivered a quick, warning nip to his shoulder. A sharp, "This is my mom," escaping through clenched teeth. Max flinched but held his ground, replying, "We just need help," while Bella stepped between them, her voice steady. "We're not here to take anything." Stella intervened with a firm nudge to Finn, telling him they lost everything, give them space, and the tension eased slightly as she divided the rest of the deer equally. ensuring each cub got a fair share, including Finn, who grumbled but accepted his portion last. Over the next days, Stella began teaching them together, starting with basic tracking in the cooling forests where fallen leaves muffled their steps. She showed them how to read fresh prints, saying, "Follow the scent, stay low," as she led the group along a trail. Finn at first refusing to walk beside the orphans, but gradually falling into line when Stella called him back with a gentle "We learn as one." The younger cubs, Charlie, Riley, Scout, and Harper, clung to her shadow at first, fearful of Finn's occasional snaps. But Stella corrected him each time, explaining, "They are part of us now. Protect them as you protect me." Rocky and Daisy, stronger than the rest, helped Scout ahead under her direction, their efforts earning nods of approval from Stella, who praised good work. "You're quick learners." Max and Bella took to the lessons fastest, mimicking her precise pounces on leaves to practice balance. And slowly, the group dynamic shifted. Finn's jealousy faded as he saw the orphans contribute, sharing kills they found, and even playing chase with him in the clearings. One evening, after a successful small hunt where Finn and Max worked side by side to corner a rabbit, Stella gathered them all close, her voice warm as she said, "Family isn't just blood, it's who stands with you when the world turns hard." The cubs nestled together under the pines, Finn finally pressing against Max without tension, Bella grooming Harper's fur, Rocky and Daisy sharing a quiet moment of rest. Charlie, Riley, and Scout curled in a pile, the first signs of true acceptance taking root. Stella watched over them through the night, her presence a steady anchor, guiding the blended pride toward something stronger than before. Winter arrived early that year, drought tightening its grip on Yellowstone's rivers and streams, leaving cracked beds where water once flowed freely and forcing prey to range farther across frozen ground. The blended pride, now moving as one under Stella's steady lead, faced the harsh reality of empty territories, the usual elk herds migrating to distant valleys while smaller game burrowed deep beneath snow. Hunger gnawed at them daily, ribs beginning to show on the younger cubs as they trudged through knee-deep drifts, the cold wind cutting through their thinning coats. Stella pushed the group onward, her voice calm but firm. "We keep searching, no one stops until we find something." The first hunts failed repeatedly. A promising deer trail led to nothing but empty thickets. A rabbit burrow collapsed under the weight of ice, and a herd of bighorn sheep vanished over a ridge before the pride could close in. Max tried leading a chase, his legs pumping hard through the snow, but the quarry outpaced him, leaving the group panting and empty-pawed. Bella suggested a different approach, scouting higher ground for overlooked spots. Yet the wind masked scents, and the animals stayed one step ahead. Stella refused to let frustration take hold, gathering them after each miss to review what went wrong. "We learn from every try-adjust. Stay patient." The cubs absorbed her lessons, practicing endurance by holding positions longer in the freezing air. Rocky and Daisy taking turns as lookouts, while Charlie, Riley, Scout, and Harper learned to conserve energy by moving in single file through deep snow. One particularly brutal day, when the temperature dropped below zero and the pride had gone 3 days without a kill, Finn noticed Rocky struggling to dig through a frozen patch where he thought a vole might hide. Without hesitation, Finn joined him, his stronger paws breaking the crust as he said, "Here, let me help together. It's easier." Rocky paused, surprised, then nodded and pushed alongside, the two of them excavating until a small rodent emerged, enough for a shared bite that revived everyone's strength. The moment shifted something in the group. Finn began seeking out the others during rests, pressing close to Harper for warmth or nudging Scout when he lagged. Stella observed quietly, her approval clear in the way she allocated the next small kill equally, saying, "This is how we survive, by lifting each other." As failures mounted, the pride grew more resilient, learning to spread out in wider formations to cover more ground. Max coordinating with Bella to anticipate prey movements based on wind direction. Rocky and Daisy using their bulk to break trails through snowdrifts for the smaller ones. A turning point came during a late afternoon stalk on a lone mule deer, weakened by the cold. The group executed a slow, patient surround, Finn and Max coordinating to trap it without waste. The kill providing vital sustenance. The drought continued to test them. Yet each day brought small victories, better tracking, faster adaptation, stronger connections that carried them forward into the deepening snow. Spring brought relief to Yellowstone, but new rivals emerged, forcing the family to defend their turf as fresh grass drew in herds and sparked territorial claims from nearby groups. The blended pride, now stronger from winter's lessons, patrolled their expanded range with vigilance. Stella at the helm scanning horizons for threats, while the cubs fanned out in practiced formations. A pack of coyotes, drawn by the abundance of young calves in the elk migrations, began shadowing the pride's hunts, their yips echoing closer each day. Stella spotted them first during a midday scout, her tail stiffening as she whispered, eyes sharp. "Everyone, they're circling our spot." The rivals struck during a routine patrol near a meadow edge. A group of 5 coyotes lunging at a straggling fawn the pride had eyed, prompting Stella to charge forward with the older cubs in tow. Max and Bella flanked left, their movements swift to cut off the coyotes' retreat, while Rocky and Daisy held the center to block advances. The skirmish unfolded quickly. Stella clashed with the lead coyote, her swipe sending it tumbling, but another nipped at her heels, forcing her to pivot and counter with a deep bite to its leg. Finn joined the fray beside Rocky, the two coordinating to pin a third coyote against a rock. Finn growling, "We've got this one," as they held it down until it yelped and fled. The younger cubs, Charlie, Riley, Scout, and Harper stayed back as instructed, but watched intently, absorbing the tactics unfolding before them. Stella called adjustments mid-fight, saying, "Max, cover the flank. Bella, push them back," her voice steady amid the chaos, teaching through action, as the pride repelled the intruders with minimal injury, claiming the fawn as their prize. After the dust settled, Stella gathered the group to debrief, pointing out key moments. "See how we adapted. That's what keeps us ahead." The cubs took notes mentally, Max refining his positioning for future encounters, Bella analyzing the rivals' weak points, Rocky and Daisy practicing holds on fallen branches, and Finn sharing insights with the younger ones. Next time, we all move as one unit. This experience accelerated their growth, with Stella assigning drills to build on it, like simulated ambushes where Charlie led a mock defense. Riley scouted escape routes, Scout timed strikes, and Harper signaled alerts, emphasizing individual strengths into a cohesive strategy. As days passed, the pride faced another set of rivals, a lone wolf pack, testing boundaries near the river, leading to a tense standoff where Stella orchestrated a feint retreat to lure them into open ground. The family executed flawlessly, Max and Finn charging to scatter the wolves, while Bella and Rocky herded the younger cubs to safety, the victory boosting confidence and reinforcing Stella's teachings. Strategy over strength. Remember that, unbeknownst to them, shadows of a different kind loomed. Poachers, equipped with rifles and traps, had entered the park's remote sections. Drawn by rumors of thriving wildlife, they set up camp quietly, tracking large cat signs with binoculars, placing wire snares along game trails the pride frequented. Stella sensed something off during an evening hunt, her hackles rising at unfamiliar scents, but pressed on, unaware of the hidden dangers closing in. The poachers observed from afar, noting the pride's patterns and whispering plans to target the adults for pelts. Their presence, a silent threat that would soon escalate the family's challenges. Under the summer sun, human shadows fell over the pride as poachers set their traps along the well-worn trails the family used daily. The two men moved silently through the underbrush, placing steel snares near watering holes and stringing tripwires connected to hidden rifles. Their faces covered with camouflage masks to avoid detection. They had tracked the pride for weeks, drawn by the size of the adults and the rarity of such a large group in the park's remote corners. Scout, ever the curious one, ventured ahead during a morning patrol, his nose close to the ground as he followed a fresh scent trail. The snare snapped shut around his foreleg with a metallic click, the wire biting deep and yanking him off balance. He yelped in pain, struggling as blood welled around the trap, the noise alerting the rest of the pride. Stella rushed forward first, her growl low and urgent. "Hold still. Scout, don't pull." While Max and Finn tried to pry the jaws apart with their paws, but the mechanism held firm. The poachers heard the commotion from their blind and emerged, one raising a tranquilizer rifle while the other loaded a second dart. Bella shouted, "Run! Everyone scatter!" But the pride refused to abandon Scout, forming a protective circle around him as Stella faced the men directly. The first dart flew, grazing Rocky's shoulder and embedding shallowly, making him stagger but not fall. John Miller and Emily Davis, the park rangers on patrol, had been monitoring drone footage from their vehicle miles away, spotting the irregular movement and the glint of metal. John radioed immediately. "We have poachers in Sector 5 active traps. Animals in distress," while Emily piloted the drone closer for visual confirmation. They raced toward the location, sirens off to avoid spooking the pride further. Arriving just as the second poacher aimed at Stella, John fired a warning shot into the air, shouting, "Drop your weapons, Park Service." The men froze, realizing they were caught, and Emily moved in with zip ties while John secured the rifles. They freed Scout carefully, using tools to release the snare, bandaging his leg on sight as he whimpered, but stayed calm under Stella's watchful gaze. The poachers were arrested on the spot, charged under the Endangered Species Act for trapping and attempting to harm protected mountain lions, facing 7 years in federal prison and a fine of $50,000 each. Their equipment confiscated and their names entered into the national database that barred them from future hunting licenses. John and Emily stayed with the pride until the tranquilizer wore off Rocky, offering water and monitoring from a distance to ensure no further threats. Stella led the family away slowly, Scout limping but supported by Finn and Max on either side, the rangers watching until they disappeared into the trees. The incident marked a turning point, the pride's survival now tied to the humans who had chosen to protect them, their actions a quiet testament to the fragile line between wild and watched. 2 years later, under Yellowstone's endless sky, the pride had grown strong and whole, the once tiny cubs now mature mountain lions, carrying themselves with the quiet assurance that came from surviving every test thrown their way. Max, the bold leader, took point on hunts with effortless precision, coordinating the group as he once followed Luna's signals, his voice now deep and commanding. When he called "circle wide," we take them clean. Bella, sharp-eyed as ever, read the terrain like an open book, directing flanks with subtle gestures that needed no words. Her presence, a steady anchor for the others. Rocky and Daisy, broad-shouldered and reliable, anchored the rear during chases, their power turning potential escapes into sure captures. while Charlie, Riley, Scout, and Harper had developed into swift, agile hunters who darted through underbrush with speed that left prey no chance. They hunted independently now, splitting into smaller teams for efficiency, yet always returning to the same core den where Stella waited. Her 4-year-old frame, now marked by silver around the muzzle, but her spirit as fierce as the day she first welcomed the orphans. Finn, grown into a solid 2-year-old, moved beside Max like a true brother. The early tension forgotten in years of shared kills and shared rests. The two often scouting together at dawn. Finn saying, "Let's check the North Ridge you lead," with easy trust. The Pride's days filled with moments of pure contentment. Lazy afternoons sprawled on sun-warmed rocks, where Rocky would nudge Daisy into a playful roll, Charlie and Riley chasing each other in wide circles, Scout pouncing on Harper's tail while she pretended to ignore him, the group erupting in soft chuffs of laughter that carried across the meadow. Evenings brought quiet protection, Max standing guard while the others slept, Bella circling the perimeter, Finn and Rocky taking turns, watching over Stella as she rested. Their loyalty unspoken but absolute. Stella watched them all with a deep satisfaction, her eyes softening when she saw how far they had come from those desperate autumn days. One clear evening, as the Pride gathered around a fresh kill under a fading sunset, she spoke softly to them. "We survive because of human kindness, the rangers who chose to protect us when we couldn't protect ourselves. Every act of compassion keeps the wild alive, and we carry that forward every day we walk this land." The words settled over the group like a warm wind, Max nodding solemnly, Bella pressing close to Stella's side, Rocky and Daisy exchanging glances of agreement, Finn resting his head on Scout's shoulder while Harper curled against Charlie. The Pride had become more than survivors. They were a living example of what resilience and care could build. Their bonds unbreakable after every hardship. For anyone watching from afar, the story offered a simple truth. Nature thrives when we choose to stand with it, when we refuse to turn away from its struggles, and when compassion guides our actions instead of indifference. Yellowstone's vast spaces held many such families, but this one had endured because people like John and Emily decided their lives mattered. A reminder that protecting the wild is not just about rules or fines, it's about recognizing the same heartbeat in every creature that walks the earth. As the Pride settled into the night, the stars above them bright and steady, they carried on, strong, whole, and forever connected, a testament to the power of second chances and the enduring strength found in family, both given and chosen.